Sydney never sleeps. Not really. Behind the lights, behind the cameras, behind the polished smiles, there are stories no one plans to tell. And this one was never supposed to happen. A live broadcast. Millions watching. 2 anchors. One moment. One decision. That crossed a line no one could erase. Charlotte didn't hesitate. She didn't wait. She didn't ask. She interrupted Oliver live on air. And everything changed. Careers. Reputations. Feelings that neither of them understood yet. Because what starts as defiance sometimes becomes obsession. And what feels like rivalry can turn into something far more dangerous. So think carefully. If one moment could change your life forever, would you take it? Or stay silent and wonder what could have been? The studio was built for control. Every second timed. Every word measured. And Oliver had mastered all of it. Years of dominance. Precision. Respect. He wasn't just an anchor. He was the anchor. Then Charlotte arrived. Young. Sharp-eyed. Carrying ambition like it was oxygen. She didn't admire the system. She studied it. And quietly, she prepared to disrupt it. Her first week, she watched everything. How Oliver spoke. How producers responded. How the audience reacted. She noticed something no one else dared to say out loud. He was predictable. And predictable could be challenged. The red light switched on. Live. Oliver delivered the headline. Calm. Controlled. Untouchable. Then, Charlotte leaned forward and spoke over him. Not aggressively. Not nervously. But deliberately. She corrected him. Added context he didn't include. Shifted the narrative. Live. The control room froze. Cameras kept rolling. And Oliver turned his head. Slowly. That look wasn't anger. It was something colder. Recognition of a threat. Now ask yourself. Was Charlotte trying to prove something? Or start something she couldn't control? After the broadcast, the hallway felt longer than usual. Charlotte walked through it like nothing had happened. But everything had. Oliver followed. Measured steps. No rush. No emotion on his face. Which made it worse. When he finally spoke, his voice didn't rise. It dropped. He told her she crossed a line. Charlotte didn't deny it. She didn't apologize. She said, "Some lines exist to be challenged." That was the moment. Not the interruption. Not the broadcast. But this. Where neither of them backed down. Days passed. Tension didn't fade. It sharpened. On screen, they were professional. Polished. Perfect. Off screen, every conversation felt like a duel. Every glance carried weight. Charlotte pushed boundaries. Asked harder questions. Took risks on air. And the audience noticed. Ratings began to shift. Not dramatically. But enough. Enough to make executives pay attention. Enough to make Oliver uneasy. Because for the first time in years, he wasn't in complete control. Be honest. What's more dangerous? Someone who challenges you openly. Or someone who makes you question yourself. The ocean didn't care about tension. Waves crashed the same way they always did. Charlotte ran along the shoreline. Fast. Focused. Trying to outrun something she wouldn't name. Then she saw him. Oliver. Standing still. Watching the horizon. Not coincidence. Not fate. Choice. He didn't greet her. He challenged her. Said she was reckless. Said she was trying too hard. Charlotte stepped closer. Said he was afraid. Afraid of losing relevance. Afraid of her. Something shifted. The argument didn't escalate. It changed. Tone. Energy. Distance. They stood closer than necessary. Neither stepping away. Neither finishing the argument. Tell me this. When tension turns into silence like that, is it conflict? Or connection? Late night studio. The city lights reflected off the glass walls. Sydney looked calm from above. Inside, nothing was calm. They stayed late, working, or pretending to. Conversation started small, then deeper, then personal. Charlotte talked about ambition, not wanting to be overlooked, not wanting to wait for permission. Oliver listened, really listened, which surprised her. Then he spoke about pressure, about expectations, about never being allowed to fail. That was the first crack, not in their rivalry, but in their walls. For a moment, they weren't competitors. They were just two people, trying to be understood. And that's where it became dangerous. The next morning, everything changed. A new segment was announced. Prime time. High visibility. Career defining. Only one anchor would lead it. Charlotte believed she earned it. Oliver expected it. The decision came. Oliver got the role. Charlotte smiled. Professional. Graceful. Convincing. But something behind her eyes shifted. Because this wasn't just about opportunity anymore. It was about trust. Respect. And a feeling she didn't want to admit. Disappointment. Then came the rumor. Whispers through the newsroom. Quiet. Persistent. That Oliver had influenced the decision. No proof. No confirmation. Just enough doubt to change everything. And now you have to decide. If you were Charlotte, would you confront him? Or walk away before things got worse? The newsroom didn't look different. Same lights. Same cameras. Same routine. But something had changed. Not in the building. In them. Charlotte still smiled on camera. Still delivered every line flawlessly. Still held her ground. But now, there was distance. Measured. Intentional. Oliver noticed. Of course he did. He noticed everything. Except this time. He didn't understand it. Because tension was familiar. But silence? Silence was unpredictable. Let me ask you something. What hurts more? Being challenged openly? Or being quietly shut out? On screen. They worked perfectly. Better than before. Chemistry that pulled viewers in. Unspoken tension that made everything feel real. Ratings climbed. Clips went viral. Audiences started talking. Not just about the news. But about them. Two anchors. Always on edge. Always almost saying something more. And sometimes, the most dangerous connections are the ones everyone else can see. Except the people inside them. A guest was introduced. Confident. Charismatic. Too comfortable. He directed his attention toward Charlotte. Complimented her. Challenged her ideas. Made her laugh. Oliver stayed composed. Professional. Unbothered. But something shifted. Subtle. Sharp. He interrupted. Not the guest. Charlotte. Corrected her. Live. Not aggressively. Not obviously. But enough. Enough for her to notice. Enough for the audience to feel it. After the broadcast, Charlotte didn't argue. Didn't react. She just looked at him. Longer than necessary. Then walked away. Be honest. Was that jealousy? Or something he wasn't ready to admit? Late night. The studio was empty again. City lights stretching across Sydney. Charlotte stayed behind. Reviewing footage. Or pretending to. Oliver walked in. Didn't announce himself. Didn't need to. She knew. Silence filled the room. Not awkward. Not hostile. Just heavy. Then. He spoke. Said she's been distant. Said something changed. Charlotte didn't deny it. Didn't explain it either. She asked him a question instead. If the roles were reversed, would you trust me? He didn't answer immediately. And sometimes, a delay says more than words. He said yes. Eventually. But something about it didn't feel certain. Charlotte nodded, as if that confirmed something she already believed. Then she turned away. Days turned into moments. Moments turned into tension. Coffee left on her desk. No note. But she knew who it was from. A story pitch she struggled with. Solved before she asked for help. A glance across the studio. Held just a second too long. Arguments that felt less like conflict and more like connection. Because sometimes people don't fall in love peacefully. They collide into it. Rain tapped against the glass walls. Sydney slowed down. Charlotte stood by the window, watching the storm. Oliver joined her. No words at first. Then, he told her she was right. About what? About everything. About pushing boundaries. About not waiting. About being fearless. Charlotte looked at him, surprised. Because that wasn't the Oliver she knew. And just like that, the distance disappeared. Not all at once, but enough. Enough for something dangerous to begin. The room felt smaller. The silence louder. They stood close. Too close. Charlotte didn't step back. Oliver didn't move away. Breath slowed. Eyes locked. And right before the moment crossed into something irreversible, a phone rang. Reality returned. They stepped apart. Some moments don't happen. Not because they shouldn't, but because timing refuses to cooperate. Tell me, was that interruption a coincidence? Or something saving them from what comes next? The next day, everything fractures. Charlotte receives a message. Anonymous. No name. No explanation. Just one line. He made sure you didn't get it. Attached. Documents. Internal. Confidential. Proof. Or something that looks exactly like it. Emails. Decisions. Recommendations. All pointing to one thing. Oliver. Not rumor. Not whispers. Something real. Something undeniable. Charlotte reads everything. Once. Twice. Again. Her expression doesn't explode. It tightens. Because anger is loud. But betrayal? Betrayal is quiet. She doesn't confront him immediately. She watches him instead. Studies him. Every word he says. Every look. Every interaction. Trying to find the truth. Without asking for it. Because sometimes, the scariest thing isn't being lied to. It's realizing you believed the wrong person. Live broadcast again. Same desk. Same cameras. But Charlotte is different. Controlled. Cold. Precise. Oliver notices immediately. Mid-broadcast. She shifts tone. Changes direction. Pushes a narrative he didn't expect. Forces him to react. The same way she did that first day. Full circle. Except this time, it's not ambition. It's personal. And Oliver realizes something in that moment. This isn't rivalry anymore. This is retaliation. After the show, he goes to find her. But she's already gone. Desk empty. Office cleared. No announcement. No goodbye. Just absence. Then, a message. Short. Final. I know what you did. And just like that, everything they were building collapses. No explanation. No defense. No second chance. Only one question left. If love begins with trust, what happens when trust is shattered before love is even spoken? Silence has a sound. You don't hear it at first. But when something or someone disappears, you feel it everywhere. Charlotte was gone. No announcement. No explanation. No trace. The newsroom continued. Because it had to. But something was missing. And everyone felt it. Except no one felt it like Oliver. Because this time, he wasn't losing control of the show. He was losing something he never admitted he needed. Let me ask you this. Do you realize someone's value when they're around? Or only when they're gone? Oliver didn't react immediately. Didn't ask questions. Didn't chase answers. He worked. Focused. Precise. Even better than before. On screen, he was flawless. Off screen, he was unraveling. Because control only works when nothing matters. And now, something did. Days pass. No word from Charlotte. Then, another message appears. Unknown sender. Same pattern. This time, a location. Melbourne. No explanation. No context. Just enough to pull him in. And this is where everything shifts. Because chasing someone is different from letting them go. The city feels different. Colder. Quieter. Oliver doesn't waste time. He searches everywhere. Studios. Cafes. Production houses. No one gives answers. Or maybe, no one knows them. Until one person does. A former colleague. Reluctant. Careful. They mentioned Charlotte was here. Briefly. Then left. But not alone. That detail changes everything. Think about it. If she left because of betrayal, why wouldn't she face him? Unless there's more to the story. Oliver gains access to something he wasn't meant to see. Internal footage. Unreleased. Security recordings. Not of Charlotte. Of meetings. Closed-door decisions. And what he finds doesn't make sense. Because in those recordings, he defends her. Argues for her promotion. Pushes against the decision. The opposite of everything she believed. Everything he was accused of didn't happen. Which leaves one question. Who wanted her to believe it did? The story fractures. Now Oliver isn't just chasing Charlotte. He's chasing the truth. Every conversation starts to feel manipulated. Every moment replayed differently in his mind. Who sent the messages? Who created the documents? And more importantly, why Charlotte believed them so quickly? Because doubt doesn't appear from nowhere. It grows from something already there. Cliffs stretch endlessly. Waves crash violently below. Charlotte stands alone, looking out. Not peaceful. Not calm. Running didn't solve anything. It only gave her space to think. And thinking made everything worse. She replays everything. Oliver's words. His reactions. His hesitation that night. Because sometimes, the truth isn't what breaks you. It's the possibility that you were wrong. Charlotte isn't alone. A man approaches. Not a stranger. The same guest from before. The one who made her laugh. The one Oliver interrupted. He speaks like he understands her. Supports her decisions. Validates her anger. Too perfectly. And that's the problem. Because real support doesn't feel rehearsed. Back to Oliver. Oliver traces the documents. Finds a pattern. A digital trail. And it leads to someone unexpected. Not a rival anchor. Not an executive. But someone closer. Someone who benefited from both of them falling apart. Because when two strong people collide, there's always someone watching. Waiting. For the moment they break. Oliver doesn't stop. Doesn't rest. He travels further. From Melbourne. To the coast. Following fragments. Not even sure what he'll find. Or if she wants to be found. Because this isn't just about proven innocence anymore. It's about something deeper. Needing closure. Needing truth. Needing her. Charlotte receives one final message. This time. Not anonymous. A name. Oliver. A location. And a time. She hesitates. Because now, nothing is certain. Not the evidence. Not the betrayal. Not even her own judgment. And for the first time since she left, she doesn't know what to believe. So answer this. If the truth finally comes to you, but everything inside you resists it, do you accept it? Or protect the version of reality you've already chosen? The location wasn't random. It was familiar. Too familiar. The studio. The same one where everything began. Empty now. Dark. Silent. Charlotte arrives first. Not early. Just unwilling to be late. Every step inside feels heavier. Not because of fear. Because of uncertainty. Because this time, she isn't walking in with confidence. She's walking in with questions. Then, footsteps. Oliver. He stops when he sees her. Not surprised. Not relieved. Careful. Like one wrong word could end everything. Think about this. When two people finally meet after everything falls apart, do they look for truth? Or prepare for another fight? No greeting. No hesitation. Charlotte speaks first. She tells him she knows what he did. Her voice doesn't shake. But it doesn't need to. Oliver doesn't react the way she expects. No defense. No denial. Just one question. What exactly do you think I did? And that question changes the rhythm completely. Because now, she has to explain the story she believes. She lays it out. The messages. The documents. The evidence. Every detail. Oliver listens. Doesn't interrupt. Doesn't argue. And when she finishes, he says something simple. It's not real. Charlotte laughs. Not because it's funny. Because it's unbelievable. She asks him if everything she saw was fake. Why did it look so real? Oliver steps closer. Because someone wanted it to. And just like that, the truth begins to shift. Oliver shows her the recordings. The meetings. The moments she was never supposed to see. Him defending her. Fighting for her. Choosing her. Charlotte watches. Every second. Breaking something inside her. Because now, it's not about whether he betrayed her. It's about whether she misjudged him. And that is harder to accept. Before anything can settle. A sound. A door. Someone else is there. Not hiding anymore. Watching. And this is where everything fractures again. Because the story was never just about them. It's him. The guest. The one who appeared harmless. Charming. Supportive. Too perfect. He steps forward. Calm. Unbothered. And then, he smiles. Not friendly. Not warm. Calculated. He admits it. Not everything. Just enough. Says the industry rewards control. Says Oliver had it for too long. Says Charlotte was the perfect disruption. But disruption alone wasn't enough. So he created division. Planted doubt. Built evidence. Turned trust into suspicion. Because two strong people working together are powerful. But two strong people pulled apart are easy to replace. Charlotte demands to know why her. He answers without hesitation. Because she was already questioning everything. Because she didn't fully trust Oliver. Because she wanted to believe the worst. Just enough. And that truth hits harder than any lie. Charlotte steps back. Not from him. From everything. Because now, she's not just facing manipulation. She's facing herself. Her decisions. Her assumptions. Oliver doesn't move. Doesn't speak. Because this isn't his moment anymore. It's hers. And sometimes, the hardest truth isn't what someone did to you. It's what you allowed yourself to believe. The manipulator doesn't run. Doesn't panic. Because he thinks he's already won. But Oliver steps forward. Not aggressive. Not emotional. Certain. Says everything has been recorded. Tracked. Prepared. Because while Charlotte was running, he was learning. And while the manipulator was planning, he was being exposed. For the first time, the manipulator hesitates. Because control has shifted. Not completely, but enough. Security arrives. The situation ends. But not cleanly. Not completely. Because the real damage was never the manipulation. It was the distance created between them. Charlotte looks at Oliver. Not the same way. Not with anger. Not with certainty either. Because truth doesn't fix everything. Sometimes it just reveals how much was broken. So answer this. If the truth comes too late, can it still save what was lost? The truth came out. The manipulation ended. The noise faded. But silence returned. Not the same silence as before. This one carried weight. The newsroom moved forward. Stories continued. Broadcasts aired. But something was still missing. Not chaos. Not tension. Something quieter. Something unfinished. Because some damage doesn't disappear when the truth is revealed. It lingers. In hesitation. In memory. In the space between two people who almost had something real. Let me ask you this. If everything that pulled you apart was a lie, does that automatically bring you back together? Charlotte didn't leave the country this time. But she didn't return either. She stayed away from the studio. From the spotlight. From him. Not out of anger. Out of uncertainty. Because now, she didn't know what to trust more. Her past feelings. Or her past decisions. And when doubt turns inward, it becomes harder to escape. Oliver didn't chase her this time. Not immediately. Not the way he did before. Because now, he understood something he didn't before. Love isn't proven by pursuit alone. It's proven by patience. So he waited. But waiting didn't mean doing nothing. He changed. Not for her. For himself. He adjusted how he worked. How he spoke. How he led. Less control. More openness. More risk. More honesty. The audience noticed. Not dramatically. But enough. Enough to feel real. Because growth doesn't announce itself. It reveals itself. Far from the studio, Charlotte rebuilt quietly. Smaller projects. Different environments. No pressure to perform. No expectations to meet. Just space. Space to think. Space to feel. Space to understand herself without noise. Because sometimes, you don't leave to escape someone else. You leave to find clarity within yourself. It doesn't happen dramatically. No grand entrance. No planned meeting. Just coincidence. A professional event. Neutral ground. Charlotte walks in. Not expecting anything. Then she sees him. Oliver. Across the room. No cameras. No pressure. No audience. Just two people. Standing in the same space again. And this time, there's no tension. Just history. They don't rush. Don't avoid it either. They talk. Not about the past first. About everything else. Work. Life. Change. Then. Silence. The kind that invites honesty. Charlotte speaks. She admits she was wrong. Not completely. But enough. Oliver doesn't interrupt. Doesn't correct her. Because this isn't about being right anymore. It's about being real. Oliver tells her something he never said before. That he didn't just lose trust when she left. He lost the version of himself he was becoming with her. And that mattered more than anything else. Charlotte listens. Not defensively. Not emotionally overwhelmed. Just present. Because sometimes, love isn't loud. It's understood in quiet moments like this. No dramatic confession. No instant resolution. Just a question. Simple. Can we try again? Not as they were, but as who they've become. And that question carries more weight than any promise. Charlotte doesn't answer immediately. Because this time, she thinks. Not with fear. Not with doubt. With clarity. Then, she says yes. The same studio. The same desk. The same lights. But everything feels different. Because they are different. They sit side by side. Not as rivals. Not as strangers. As partners. Not perfect. But real. The broadcast begins. Their rhythm returns. But it's not controlled anymore. It's natural. As the segment ends, their hands TOU. CH. Not by accident. Not for show. But with certainty. Some lines are meant to protect us. Others are meant to be crossed. Because on the other side of risk is growth. On the other side of conflict is understanding. And sometimes, on the other side of everything falling apart, is something stronger than what existed before. So tell me, was crossing the line the mistake? Or the reason their story was worth telling?